Hold on, we're gonna cut the intro short a minute and a half. So I'm asking locals because the way I'm doing it now is with screen and screen, low volume on clip. Well, okay, I'll have to fix that the next time because I'm using. Let me see here. There is no volume. I'm using screen and screen, so maybe my mic is too high. Viva, read the chat. Cannot hear anything, says Giacondo. I'm reading the chat right now. Cannot hear anything. So that might be something in studio where you hold on. Let me bring this back. You don't hear any music when this is playing. Huh. Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's a glitch with studio that we'll fix. Okay, fine. Some people say they can hear it. Others say they can't. I'll fix that up next time. I hear the music, but very, very low. Benny just finished. Viva was on it, says Chris. Zoo, hi. Hold on. Am I short? What the heck is going on here? No, my Trump thing is in the back and it's good. All right. And apparently the mic was on. Okay, well, I'll also not. If I decide to whistle, people, I'm going to make sure that the mic is off. Good afternoon, people. A little bit of a late start because I was, in fact, on Benny Johnson. Thought that was going to go 12:30 to 1:30. And then as I'm sitting in another room doing something, I hear, and now Viva's coming on. And it was not supposed to be my segment, but came in and we had a good one with Benny Johnson. Before that, you'll see me on Rebel News tomorrow. And this morning, I was on with David Crichton. And we had a great show talking about some of the Canadian stuff and some of the American stuff as well. All right, I'll fix up. I think in studio, I'm not sure. I noticed there was a problem once upon a time of hearing the audio when you do screen and screen of a video, but not necessarily of a website. So I'll fix that up. Okay. Good afternoon, people. Another day, another descent into madness. The people are going crazy right now. Pedal to the metal, because in the wake, it's been 1 week. It's November 12th. November 5th was the day that changed the trajectory of America. In fact, I dare say bring it back. July 13, 2024 was the day that changed the trajectory of America. And there's a good graph out there. It shows what would have been the trajectory of Civil War and World War III, and what is the trajectory of Make America Great Again, Take Back America Again. And it literally changed the trajectory, not just of America, but of the world. Trump wins, and now he's appointing cabinet members to positions of power. What shall his next cabinet look like? And this is where the fight is going. The pressure campaign is going. There's a bunch of names being floated around. I don't know if Kristi Noem has been suggested for Homeland Security. We're going to go over who are the big names being floated around. And the battle of the day currently is who becomes, I need to make sure I get the name of the title of the speaker of the majority leader. Who becomes the majority leader? And the three choices, as per the last chart that I've been running, the last poll on Twitter. Who should do it? Vox Populi, Vox Dei, I believe it was Elon Musk who said. Where the heck is my chart here? Yeah, okay, so hold on 1 second. As they say. So, Senate Majority Leader, check this out, people. You want to see what is... we're in it. We're not in a silo, but we're certainly in an ecosystem. Who should be the next Senate Majority Leader? And I put them in alphabetical order so that no one can accuse me of tainting the poll with my own preferences. I would have put Rick Scott first, John Cornyn, Rick Scott, or John Thune. I wonder if you mispronounce his name, if people are going to freak out like they did with Kamala. They accuse you of mispronouncing Kamala's name, Kamala, when they wanted it to rhyme with Camelot, which would mean that you pronounce it Kamala. Whatever, doesn't really matter. These are the three options for Senate Majority Leader that is causing a kerfuffle right now. And I ran a poll, and admittedly, it's a small poll. It's been shared 117 times. It has 2,000 votes, and I know other people ran a similar poll with similar results, by the way. Who should it be? Okay. Before we even get into any of that, people, let me let me get into the business of the day. We will start with our sponsors, and then we shall get into the show. People relying on big tech or the government for protection, that's like expecting Kamala to answer a question. Don't hold your breath. Hold your breath if you're into like asphyxiation and stuff. 5G freeze, Faraday laptop and phone holders aren't just cases. They are total signal shutdown for your devices. Slip your gear inside and do block everything: EMF, radiation, GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cellular tracking. All of it gone. Not only does this protect your privacy, but it also keeps you safe. It keeps you safe from constant EMF exposure, which has been linked to potential health risks. With 5G free, your device stays dark, secure, and you stay protected. Visit 5gfree.com. Use promo code VIVA for 15% off. Protect yourself and your data. 5gfree.com, promo code VIVA for 15% off, and build the parallel economy that we need to build. This is a Rumble partner, and it is a wonderful business to support, as is Be Naked, people. You can be naked in the good way. You can be naked in the bad way. Let's do it in the good way. They say that evolution has gone soft, that men have traded their strength for comfort. But if you're not about to let your instincts go dull, it's time to fuel up with something raw, real, and primal. Naked organs, we're talking pure bison liver, kidney, heart, and testes. Some of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, bison liver alone packs up to 3 times more vitamin A than muscle meat, along with high levels of vitamin B12, iron, and folate, all essential for energy, immune health, keeping you sharp. And the best part, you get all these powerhouse nutrients in a way that is easy to take. No raw organs involved. You don't have to be that guy eating raw testicles. Don't do it, people. Head to BeNaked.com. Use promo code VIVA for 15% off. Time to silence the noise, reclaim your power, and get back to being unstoppable. BeNaked.com. Promo code VIVA for 15% off. Another Rumble partner. Check it out, people. Okay. We'll start with the majority leader, people. And what does it even do? I'm a Canadian schnook. Been down here now. It'll be 3 years this summer. And it's been a learning curve as I've gotten into the world of politics, which I never really wanted to get into, except for the world went to hell in a handbasket. And the world made me run for federal office before I left Canada, which was the most liberating thing on earth. Because once you can share your political beliefs without apology, you feel a lot freer. So I'm still Canadian, still don't really understand everything about this, but I wanted to see, not the Secretary of State, I got the website for what does the leadership even do? Just so for those who don't know, there might be people out there who haven't even gone and say, what do the majority and minority party leaders do? With each new Congress, people, we're going to have a civics class, and I'm going to teach myself, and hopefully some people are going to learn something they might not have known and might have been too shy to ask. With each new Congress, the Democratic and Republican conferences elect one of their members to serve as party leader. Depending on which party is in power, one leader serves as majority leader, the other as minority leader. Both, and it's Mitch McConnell now. I won't call him the name that people call him, but you know, Turtlehead. Both party leaders, also called floor leaders, serve as the spokesperson for their party's positions on the issues and coordinate their respective legislative strategies. Working with the committee chairs and ranking members, the majority leader schedules business on the floor by calling bills from the calendar and keeps members of his or her caucus advised about the daily legislative program. In consultation with the minority leader, the majority leader fashions unanimous consent agreements by which the Senate may limit the amount of time for debate, yada, yada, yada. All right. So that's what they do. And then the question is, who is best to do it? The amazing thing is, the people who wanted Trump up there, you know, you were voting on one person and it was easy to rally 75 million people behind one person. Now that one person is up there and that one person has to now appoint, I don't know how many people Trump has to appoint. It's dozens, if not, you know, in the hundreds, to key administrative positions. Now you've got 75 million people who are they're not going to agree on it, but you've got to try to please, placate, satisfy the demands of 75 million people with all of the different interests they have. And so it's impossible. That's the bottom line. The question is, however, are you going to piss off the base of the people who got you elected in this landslide if you appoint people who the will of the people do not want? That is the question. And of the 3 candidates, at the very least, for the majority speaker, let's hear what The Hill has to say. Now, the amazing thing here, when you're talking about legacy media, The Hill is part of it. If you operate on the basis that they are not trying to reflect reality, but shape it and craft it, you then know how to read this. And when you read the headline that says Senate GOP turned off by Rick Scott pressure campaign, the question is this: is the Hill reporting the news, or is the Hill trying to manufacture the news, or reality for that matter? And I'll go with the latter, because I think Trump is in tune with what the people who got him elected want. He's in touch with the people who voted for him and what they want. And when they seemingly want this on a massive scale, you might have swamp interests that are trying to contradict the populist interests. So that's how I read this, but let's just see what they have to say. The pressure campaign being waged by allies of Senator Rick Scott, representative from Republican from Florida. I met him actually at the victory dinner that the lectern took me to as his +1. Very nice guy. Very cool, actually. Not all people are as interesting to meet in real life as you might think or hope, and Rick Scott was one of them. And we had a good laugh when I told him I'm from Westmount, Canada. And he's like, "You're from Westmount? Isn't Kamala Harris, didn't she grow up?" It's like, "Yeah, she went to school right up the street from where I live." To boost his campaign chances, yada, yada, yada. It's having a boomerang effect, says The Hill, which means they want it to have a boomerang effect, which means it's not necessarily having a boomerang effect. It's increasingly antagonized GOP senators and could doom his already dim odds in the race. Scott is running against state Republican whip John Thune. And they're pulling up the dirt on John Thune now. And John Cornyn, Texas, for the right to succeed Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell atop the conference, with the latter two widely seen as favorites. I don't know that that's true anymore. With 48 hours until the planned vote, Scott's backers, many of whom are also ardent supporters of President-elect Trump, have gone on a public offensive to try to put him over the top. One top aide to the Senate Republican, who has yet to decide on whom to support, told The Hill that the member, quote, could be more turned off by the coercion tactics, and described the level of efficacy in pushing them away as a 10 out of 10. Bullcrap. When you look at Elon tweeting away, Elon, who arguably had a decisive role to play in Trump's landslide of an election, the Posobics, the Charlie Kirks, the people doing the legwork, and they're making it known what the people want. It's I think that The Hill is trying to make the news and not represent the news. And if I have to go to Kalshi now to double check, because Predicted, for whatever the reason, doesn't have a market for this. Predict has become useless now. It looks like Rick Scott is now a 37% favorite, or 37% to John Thune's 52% favorite. So I don't know where they say he's number 3 of the 3. And what they're pulling up on John Thune, I'll preface this because this is going to be true of everybody that we're going to discuss today. No one's going to be perfect, period, especially politicians who have been around for a while. No one person is going to satisfy all 75 million people who voted for Trump. There are going to be bigger and lesser turnoffs or disqualifications. There will be things that are so bad it's disqualifying, or exqualifying, as we say. One of those might be if anyone voted for or supported the impeachment of Donald John Trump. That's a non-starter. That is disqualifying. If someone said certain things as relates to the war in Ukraine and America's endless support, that's a turnoff. That's a strike against, but not necessarily a disqualifying statement. Thune, however, might have said things that are disqualifying. I don't think I have them to bring up, actually. But it doesn't matter. Things about January 6ers. Things about... if they said January 6th was an insurrection, I will tend to agree. When it comes to Rick Scott, I think everybody likes Rick Scott, at least the populist movement. Maybe there's people who would have floated other names there. But if you said January 6th was an insurrection, I mean, you're tacitly accepting that Trump should have been disqualified, tacitly promoting the narrative that Trump should have been removed from the ballot. That's disqualifying. And the amazing thing is, now with the aggregate eyes of the internet on these choices, they're not going to get away with some tweets here and there that they might have said that they now regret. Let me just see if I thought I had one potentially in the backdrop. Let's see here. I will get there in a second. So it looks like, I mean, look, from my perspective of the 3 that are up there, from everyone I've picked their brains on, Rick Scott is the obvious go-to. Thune has said many, many bad things, and Cornyn apparently is just awful. Rick Scott's... Okay, I'm not reading that comment right there. And I'm reading some chat here that says no sound. I think you can hear me. All right, Thinks Now. Oh, check this out. Here we go. We got Thinks Now says, ordered Arthur's book yesterday. Thank you for the interview. It was great. Arthur Pawlowski, Canada's political prisoner. No relation that I know of to Chris Pawlowski. They spell their names differently. He was on here selling his book. It was called, it had the word lions in it. You get back into bed. Get back into bed. Yeah, don't look at me like that. Okay, that's Rick Scott, people. What are the other people that are up there for now? Marco Rubio is apparently being floated. Hold on a second. We gotta also get what these positions are. Here, hold on. Liberty pill means judge delays. We're gonna get to that in a second. Hold on. Marco Rubio's name is being floated around, and it was for Secretary of State, I believe. Duties of the Secretary of State. Under the Constitution, the President of the United States determines U.S. foreign policy. The Secretary of State, appointed by the President with the advice and consent of the Senate, is the President's chief foreign affairs advisor. The Secretary carries out the President's foreign policies through the State Department and Foreign Service of the United States. So that's what the Secretary of State is. And the front runner, it seems for now, is Marco Rubio. Now, a lot of people are harping on a lot of things that Marco Rubio said back in the day. A lot of people making fun of Marco Rubio. I happen to think Marco Rubio has come a long way in the last 2 to 4 years. I remember saying just recently that he said something great. He's up on the stand thumping for Trump, and he seems to be a changed man and very loyal. But that does not mean that one gets a pass for the foibles of their past. Now, check this one out. This is a while ago, and I don't know if Marco Rubio was playing a game when he was asking this question. I don't know if it was a little bit of the good cop, bad cop in one person, where he wanted Victoria Nuland to admit that there were bioweapons labs in Ukraine when everyone was saying that there weren't. Listen to the question, listen to the answer, and then listen to what I still hold against Marco Rubio for having said at the end, because it certainly sounds like he is a Russia, bad, let's finance endless proxy wars type of warmonger, which might not be what you want for the Secretary of State. But listen to this while I go put a dog outside.
Well, I only have a minute left. Let me ask you, does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which in fact we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So
I'm going to pause there. I want to start it. Just
in fact, we are now quite concerned biological research facilities.
I've got it. You got to see this face. This is what a lie in action looks like. Are there biological? There are biological. How do I say this so that it's not World War III inducing?
Chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which in fact we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces should they approach.
I'm sure you're aware that the Russian propaganda groups are already putting out there all kinds of information about how they've uncovered a plot by the Ukrainians to release biological weapons in the country and with NATO's coordination. If there's a biological or chemical weapon incident or attack inside of Ukraine, is there any doubt in your mind that 100% it would be the Russians that would be behind it?
There is no doubt in my mind, Senator, and it is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Says the woman as she blames on the other guy what they might be planning to do themselves. So that last part of the question from Rubio drives me nuts. Now, I'm going to bring this out and just leave it in the backdrop just in case we want to bring it back. Barnes and I always say motivation is the master of reason. Parentheses, Barnes is still in the hospital, everybody, and obviously nobody wants to be in the hospital for 5 days. We're expecting news. He was on Twitter. At least I noticed he hearted a tweet of mine this morning. I'm trying to get some news, see what the updates are. And when I have them, I've been giving them in our community. he's alive. He's in the hospital, and obviously nobody wants to be in the hospital. So waiting for more news, and as soon as I have it that I can share, I will. Parentheses closed. I need to show you something. There's a price to selling your soul, and I'm not judging people for getting old. We all get old. God willing, we get old. But I genuinely believe that the evil that you do in life will eat your soul from the inside. If you don't know who the person on the left is, it's Victoria Nuland. I'm a married man. That part of my brain, although active, is thoroughly suppressed. That was her when she was young, and this is her now. And I tell you, you lead. There's a George Orwell. Everyone by the time they're 50 has the face that they deserve. There is a cost to selling your soul. There is a cost to basking in evil, corruption, and malice day in and day out, and it will eat you from the inside out and from the outside in. That's Victoria Nuland, then and now. Go look up Jacinda Ardern. Maybe there's other reasons to explain it, but the life you lead will leave its marks on your body and your face. But Victoria Nuland, confirming that there's biological weapons in Ukraine, but they're not weapons, they're research facilities that they're so concerned are going to get into the hands of the Russians that they need to get them out of there. And then Rubio at the end says something absolutely
or attack inside of Ukraine. Is there any doubt in your mind that 100% it would be the Russians that would be behind it?
There is no doubt in my mind, Senator, and it is classic Russian
tactics,
technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Do you appreciate that she also has that disgusting, nasally, pseudo-polite, smooth voice, like John Kirby, like Merrick Garland, like that other guy that I absolutely loathe. I forget his name. I'm telling you, they get the same lying coaching lessons from the same people. So the question is this: will Rubio be good or bad? I don't think we have polls here in the chat. If I'm looking at both Rumble and CommuniTube and our locals community, Rubio good or bad? And the ultimate thing is, if you have no choice, at what point? Like, the question is this: you have to say, from a populist perspective, what would be? You want certain people to have key roles in an administration. You want RFK in there. You want. Oh, it was Blinken, by the way. Thank you. Who said that in our math in our community said it was Blinken. Blinken does it too. It drives me nuts. You want RFK in the administration. You want Vivek Ramaswamy in the administration. You want Tulsi Gabbard in the administration. But there's a lot of seats to fill. There's a lot of diverging interests to satisfy. And there's a lot of politics to be played. The question is, would a Rubio lead Trump astray, or would a Trump administration be able to rely on Rubio being loyal to the will of the people? That's the question. Now, in our locals community, I have yet to see. The best I see is C2 that says Rubio halfway. Deport the Left says bad, bad, bad. Alan Ribbs says bad. Emerson says bad. And if we go over to Rumble, probably not good. Keep eyes on Rubio. Tulsi good. And everyone says bad here for Kash Patel. Would be one that you want to see in the administration somewhere. Stephen Miller's in there. He's the deputy chief of staff. I put out a tweet yesterday. Did I bring it up in the backdrop? They spent the last decade calling Trump a Nazi, a misogynist, a xenophobe, an anti-Islamist, and Crystal Ball, open mouth, say something stupid, comes out and said, look at this, it's just incredible. Crystal Ball, predictable end to an obvious farce. No matter the administration, Israel always wins. Now, I appreciate that Crystal Ball has her issues with Israel. People accused Trump of being a Nazi, who at the same time is accused of being too pro-Israel. They accused him of being a xenophobe anti-immigrant. And I replied to Crystal Ball, oh, look, you're saying something stupid. It must be a day ending in a Y. For all the names that they called this guy, he's a Nazi, xenophobe, misogynist. The first people he appoints is the Susan Wiles, who some people don't like, but is nonetheless the first woman chief of staff, and Stephen Miller to deputy chief of staff. He happens to be Jewish, despite the fact that people call him a Nazi Jew. I said Trump is the worst misogynist Nazi on the face of the planet, and he's also the worst xenophobe. This is from MSNBC. How Trump won the biggest Arab American majority city in America, Dearborn, Michigan. Incidentally, where my Bronco was manufactured. Made in America, baby. Didn't come close to swinging the election, but Kamala Harris's humiliating loss there says a lot about her campaign's failures. The swing in Michigan was quite dramatic, and the largest Arab American majority city in the country, Dearborn. Trump beat Harris 42.5% to 36%. Tellingly, the usually irrelevant Green Party candidate Jill Stein pulled down an impressive 18% of the vote in Dearborn, undoubtedly voters who could not stomach voting for either Trump or Harris. Trump similarly prevailed in Dearborn Heights and in Michigan generally. Biden had won all of these areas handily in 2020. So you got dumbass crystal ball, whose prediction on the election was as bad as her judgment in general, saying he's too pro-Israel and it's always Israel first. It's an amazing thing how peace in the Middle East, through whatever means you get that, actually benefits both Israel and Palestinians, both Israel and the neighboring Arab nations. So much so that even the Muslim leaders in Dearborn were endorsing Trump because whether you think he's too pro-Israel or not, stability and peace in the Middle East, starting in Israel, benefits everybody, not just Israelis. So that's crystal ball being an idiot. But the bottom line, Trump now appointed Stephen Miller, which is a good middle finger to the administration. So, hey, we like Stephen Miller. Susan Wiles, not so much. Let's see who else that was a good one there. Oh, Homan. We love Homan. Amazing, as borders are. I want to bring it up just so we can show it, because Homan is absolutely amazing. These are old clips that are now resurfacing to highlight what this is. I said it, I said it everywhere I go. This is the type of guy you want as a father, as a coach, and as a leader. Loving but hard, fair but hard.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass
Can you imagine that? What price do you put on national security? One terrorist attack, how much is it worth? You don't get to do that calculation. This is not the scene out of Fight Club where Boeing or the airline gets to say, well, how much is a payout in the event of a crash? And then factor that into the cost of the recall. And then we make our decision. That's not how government works. A, you've got the money. You've got enough of it. And B, what is the price of national security? Well, what's a few dozen terrorists having crossed the border? It's not something you can afford to let happen, period. Now, let's see what the second part of the question was.
Carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
We have seen.
How much? It's not. That's not cruel and inhumane as people are going to depict it. Yeah, if you're all here illegally, you go back. The problem is, if some of you are here illegally, you've broken the law. It's like, okay, I guess you can all go to jail if a dad gets arrested for DUI. If you want to be together and not separated, you can go to jail together. I don't know that you can actually do that, but follow the analogy. This is not cruel and inhumane. This is just logical and pragmatic. There is no cost. There's no price you can put on national security. And B, as he said in another clip, when you arrest someone for breaking the law and they have children, you're separating a family. You don't ask questions as to whether or not it's legitimate. You don't ask questions as to whether or not it's going to be upsetting. Of course, it's going to be upsetting for the family. The idea here, however, is that you don't separate families because of the particular crime. So you would actually separate, families when you arrest an American citizen for breaking American law, and they somehow get less rights than illegal aliens who cross the border illegally. What is it? What is this? This is not a two-tier, forget the legal system. There's not a two-tier criminal system. There's not, okay, this is a crime, but it's one that you treat the people differently than citizens who commit other crimes. They go to jail, they get separated from their family. No. Homan, we all agree, we love. Vivek, we want to see in there. We'll see what happens with that. So bottom line, by tomorrow, we'll know if, I've been told it's Thune and not Tune. I'm going with Tune because Thune sounds like I have a lisp, and I already have a bit of a lisp, so I don't want to make it sound even worse. RP McMurphy says, Viva, it sounds better if you use the Spanish word for grandmom. It brings more. Okay. So that's that. Rubio, we'll see. I mean, I know people don't like him and are suspicious. the bottom line, not everybody's going to be perfect. I think Rubio has come around somewhat, and he has not to say everybody's got to bend the knee to Trump, but you're not going to hire people who are not loyal to Trump. Rubio, at the very least, in recent memory, in the last year, has become very loyal to Trump and vocally so. So, Fleet Lord Avatar, Don Jr., this show we give you a forum to express your opinions. I do and will always have a loud, sometimes annoying voice to John Trump. Maybe tweet this out for the public. Fleet Lord Avatar, give me the link. Is the link there? And then we got NetJess, who says Cornyn will not survive the primary in 18 months. And then we've got Kash is front runner for head of the CIA, says Encryptus. Well, that's a good segue, Encryptus, into me bringing him up. But before we do that, our third and last sponsor of today's show, and I just drank a big cup of it this morning. I've been told I might drink too much caffeine, but I measure 400 milligrams of caffeine in days where I don't even come close to it, that I think. Maybe close. I don't pass it. But the coffee, everybody needs to wake up and have a good cup of coffee. Quality, with a company that respects you and a company that you respect, build the parallel economy. And that company is one of Rumble's partners, 1775. This is for the protein creamer, by the way. Ever check the back of your creamer packaging? This is not a joke. I won't name the competition because it's not really competition. It's garbage. Go read that stuff Coffee made. There's a lot of X's in the ingredients if you read it. Spoiler alert, if you read the ingredients, it's a chemistry set. Oils, sugars, thickeners with no dairy in sight. If that's how you're starting your day, it's time to upgrade to 1775's protein creamer. This is the real deal, 10 grams of whey protein to fuel your energy, support your muscle recovery, and keep you feeling full longer. Without the sugar crash, zero sugar, zero fat, under 50 calories. It's non-MGO, naturally flavored with vanilla and proudly American fuel for people who won't settle. Pair it with 1775's single origin coffee. Beautiful, ethically sourced, magnificent coffee. And you're not just waking up, you're fueling up with purpose. Pure, high quality, and unapologetic. This blend is crafted for mornings that match your mindset. Use promo code VIVA for 15% off to make your mornings as strong as your beliefs. You go to 1775coffee.com, promo code VIVA for 15% off. And all of the links are in the pinned comment in the description. They're all there. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Keep the parallel economy going. What is Rumble's stock at, by the way? You guys see what Rumble stock is at? It's at, oh my goodness, I haven't checked in a while. It was over $7 today. Now it's at $6.99. I know that there are members of our board. I never give financial advice. I tell you who my predictions are on the markets because I don't consider that. I consider myself to have been sufficiently well researched for that. I know that there are people in our locals community who doubled up and tripled up on Rumble when it was down, and after the election it's taken basically a 5-day. In the last 5 days it's up 8%, and in the last month it's up 28%. Yeah, the last 5 days doesn't include the election. So the election was a bump for John Trump stock and for Rumble, because you know the numbers. Sorry, I'm banging on the table. If you're not following Chris Pavlovsky, CEO of Rumble, unsung hero in this technological political war. If you're not following him, follow him on Twitter. The share of Rumble in terms of, the decrease in legacy media television for the coverage of the election, astonishing. The top podcasts in the world, I'm not yet there, one day maybe, are on Rumble. Bongino, Bannon's War Room, Crowder. It's wild. And the company is a company of principle. And it is being now reflected in the market, because we are going to get to the point where free speech is going to be cool again. I'm just pulling up the link that who just put up here, Fleet Lord Avatar. Read the full tip, Viva. It gives the EP number. The link uses spaces in the Rumble rant. Also get a producer, says Fleet Lord Avatar. I've got 2 people who are offering, and I have to battle with some internal stuff as to whether or not what's a producer going to do? What's a producer going to do that I don't want to do myself? I want to do this, but I guess they could be pulling up the Rumble, the section of the video as we do this in real time, or I could scroll up as we're going, narrate what I'm doing, and we can go to John Trump. It was a 37:34. Here we go. Check this out. At 37:34. Here, no, that's my stream. Here, 37, 34.
Chat, we could.
Here we go.
It's
Okay,
absolutely
let's hear it.
awesome, and I'm super excited. So that's that's a little bit of breaking news right here. And also on this show, we will give you the forum to speak your mind, to hear your opinions, and for every day to find a way to improve our country. Listen, I'm not going to be in government. I don't think I want a job in the White House. That's not really my thing. But I do and will always have a loud, sometimes perhaps annoying, voice in my father's ear. So guys, get your questions, comments, even memes ready. If we can put them up, in some of the live chat, we can put up the memes. I'll try to get the team to clip them quickly to put them up here. God bless Susie. Yeah, no, that's such an important job. That's the gatekeeper. That's the person that does this. And that's what's great about Susie. She's not a gatekeeper. She lets my father talk to everyone. No, you can only talk to these 4 neocon rhinos, and they're going to tell you half the story so that you come to the conclusion that they want rather than the conclusion you'd actually come to if you had all of the information. That's hugely important. So I'm super excited that people are saying and trusting me, as we all know, if she isn't, she'll be fired. That's okay. Fair.
All right, that's good. And I just tweeted out the poll to Don Jr. and said I also have a loud voice. So thank you. Encryptus says you will need a Jamie to get on top podcasts in the world list, says Encryptus, who has graciously offered. All right, Encryptus, we'll talk afterwards. Okay, for the time being, we'll do it live. We'll do it the way I've been doing it, which is going to my backdrop here and seeing what we were talking about Kash Patel. And here's the tweet that I wanted to bring up on the Kash. Green Lives Matter. Not sure if I know who they are. I know who they are. Green Lives Matter. Trump's top contender. Before, don't get too far into the video. Trump's top. Why does it keep playing? Stop. Okay. I guess whatever. We'll come back to it. Trump's top contender for head of the CIA, Kash Patel. If you don't know who Kash Patel is, you can't not know who Kash Patel is. Him testifying at that Colorado trial. This is a smart man who is smarter than the people attacking him, which is why he will be the victor at the end of the day. Kash Patel wants to implement a 24/7 declassification office releasing files about JFK and 9/11 and January 6th. I don't know if the classification is the reason why those haven't been released. He wants to bring out all of the Russiagate files that are hidden and expose the truth about the January 6th pipe bomber. All of the January 6th, and pardon the January 6ers. He told Steve Bannon he wanted to exact justice and find the conspirators in the government and the media who worked to usurp the will of the people, as do I. He wants systematic change of the FBI and CIA coming from an awakened American people. It's going to be an incredible 4 years. And now I won't play the whole thing.
You need a 24/7 declassification office, whatever you want to call it. Transparency, truth, whatever. I don't care. Sits in the White House.
I love the way he's
reports
sitting.
directly to
I love
you,
the shirt he's wearing.
and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool. This is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption
Classification
is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty.
Peter, by the way, everybody knows this. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. When I found out what Patel says here, I couldn't believe it either. But the government abuses of classification to not release stuff, not which is classified, but which embarrasses the government. Much in the same way they use redaction to not release information that would embarrass the government. They do it up in Canada. Abuse of redaction and abuse of classification. Listen to this.
The Lovebird text from FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. Who they were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI. And they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump.
It drives me nuts that there are people out there who might not even know what Kash is talking about, who didn't live through the 2016. Don't worry, we've got an insurance policy, says a member of the FBI. While the FBI attorney, Kevin Kleinsmith, is falsifying evidence to submit to a secret FISA court to obtain an illegal spy warrant on Carter Page so they can one step over to spying on Donald Trump during the transition and then manufacturing the Russiagate hoax to swamp his presidency in allegations of Russian conspiracy. I mean, it drives me nuts that there are people out there who don't know that. That's ingrained. It's burnt into my psyche. And Kash says it. And there's going to be people out there who say that's crazy conspiracy talk.
Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight of their agency. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice?
This is an old interview.
What? A $1.5 million payout.
Oh, no, Kash, I got to fact check you there. No. It was a $2 million payout. $1.2 million to Peter Strzok, who's been stroking, other things, and $800,000 to Lisa Page on the basis that their privacy was violated by the disclosure of their text messages revealing their nefarious plot to undermine the duly elected president. This is how the deep state rewards its own.
To settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. And they weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages. And we got them declassified finally in full when I became Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos.
A summary is not
But the
bad.
deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law.
Don't trust Kash Patel. Don't trust me. Government to pay former FBI officials $2 million in settlements over release of anti-Trump texts. Yada, yada, yada. Their lawsuits over the department's 2018 release. First of all, they're civil servants. These were on, as far as I understand and remember, their work devices. And this is evidence of a crime, not private talk about medical conditions and whatnot. Strzok gets 1.2, Page gets 800. They finalized their settlements after alleging the department violated the Privacy Act by releasing the media texts they exchanged. Do you know what that settlement really smells like? Corruption, obviously. But if it rings any bells as to this is litigation between two friends, understand that. Like Lisa Page and Peter Strzok suing the government, suing their employers is the same beast suing itself, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's settle this. Here's $2 million. You did good. I mean, when you think about it, and really you should be putting this together, it's analogous to some extent to the settlement, as far as I'm concerned, between Fox News and Dominion. When you have settlements that don't make sense, it's because you have players that are obviously not as adversarial as you might have thought they were. And I would argue that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok to the FBI are as adversarial as Fox News was to Dominion. And you basically have money laundering, rewarding your friends and family, and an absolute wild, corrupt settlement of a wildly corrupt lawsuit among friends. And this is how they reward each other for doing the dirty work. No, Peter Strzok doesn't go to jail. He gets $1.2 million. Do not skip go. Do not collect $200. This is skip jail and get $1.2 million for breaking the law. Okay. On that note, Jay DeCory, 2012. Can you make sure that Barnes gets his cootie shot? We don't need him with the Trump derangement syndrome. I think some people are more nervous that the hospital is going to try to give him a certain cootie shot that they certainly don't want him to get given. Net just says, Viva, you seem perplexed by my rant. Cornyn is up for re-election in 2026. Texas Republicans hate him. Only a miracle will save him in the primary. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I was perplexed, but that actually clarifies it. And then we've got Susan Woodcarver, who is now a subscriber. Susan, welcome to our wonderful above average community at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Now, people, let me go over to Rumble for 1 second, because not Rumble. We're going to go over to We're going to go over to CommieTube after I cough. Need a cough button. That's also what I need. We're going to go over to CommieTube. I'm going to see if there's any Rumble super chats that I missed there, and then we're going to end it on CommieTube and take the rest of this party on over to Free Speech Rumble, because we are going to create, support, and promote that parallel economy. Atheist Miracle, $10. Says, Nate the lawyer just gave you and Barnes a huge shout out, claims you and Barnes helped start his YouTube life. I never knew. Best wishes for Barnes. I wouldn't say I saw that. I'm not getting involved in any of the fighting with Rekieta. So I was gonna tweet out a joke. Rodney King, can't we all just get along? Because I don't like seeing people fight. And I won't even say more than that because I'm not getting involved in it. But I saw Nate said I started his YouTube career. I don't know about that. I definitely discovered him when we had our Nicholas Sandmann law debate when Nate was at 800 subs on YouTube and I was at like 50 some odd thousand. Nate was actually under 1,000, and at the time you couldn't even tag someone who had less than 1,000 followers. So when I put out my video responding to him saying that I was wrong on Nicholas Sandmann, couldn't even tag him. He came on for an interview. We did his entire life story. He told us how he lost the sight in his eye, for those of you who don't know. And his story was so amazing and so impressive and inspirational of where he was, where he was born, brought up, his life story. After the interview, I'm like, I couldn't find his name in any law database. I'm like, holy cows, I just got flamoozed by someone on the internet, and I was, because he spells his name differently and his entire story checked out. Go watch it. It was whenever Nicholas Sandmann was. And it was amazing. Go watch that. It would be a good one. Thank you very much. Atheist Miracle. Scrolling down, and then we're going to put the link up there. Is there a give, send, go for Robert Barnes? Says Tadeusz Kuchesko. I don't think he needs one. Not yet that I know of. Just needs to get the hell out of the hospital. Nobody likes being in the hospital, and hospitals are not places to be, even when it's for good reasons like giving birth. Okay, get over to Rumble if you're coming, or you can come directly to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where the after party shall be. But right now, make sure my fat fingers do not do what I did Sunday night. Okay, minimizing. This is going to direct us over to Rumble and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. So YouTube, come on over. The link is pinned. I'd like to see the number go down from 1.6 thousand to 1,000. And then everyone trickles in. And if you're not coming, I was supposed to see if I could get Jake Lang to pop on. I wanted him to come on when we were on both channels, but Jake Lang, one of the Jan Sixers, is making the push for full pardon of everybody. Okay, sorry. Okay, not doing local supporters only. Come on now from YouTube to Rumble, Viva Fry, vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and I'm updating the stream now. Okay.